Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program The Bottom Line here on Times Television. I'm your host Brian Banda. Thank you for joining us. In this edition of the program, I'll be talking to Honorable Moses Kunkuyu, leader of Transformation Alliance, TA as it is popularly known. I'll also be joined by Mr. Leonard Chimbanga. He's a DB member who is also a former spokesperson for the Transformation Alliance. The two gentlemen here have all been in one place, running Transformation Alliance. Honorable Kunkuyu has recently announced that he has since joined the Malawi Congress Party. And the former spokesperson, Mr. Chimbanga, announced a couple of months ago that he has joined the Democratic Progressive Party. What does this mean? Where is our politics going on? And what is the future of politics in Malawi? Two energetic young men going different routes politically. What does this mean? Thank you for joining us, and that's our topic of discussion. First of all, let me welcome you, Leonard Chimbanga and Honorable Kunkuyu. It's always a pleasure to have you both in a program like this one. Can I start with you, Honorable Kunkuyu? Where is Transformation Alliance as we speak today with the latest developments?
Thank you very much, and let me thank you for inviting me to be part of this program today. Transformation Alliance is experiencing some growth now. The biggest step that it has taken is the announcement that it is endorsing the Malawi Congress Party and its leadership for the 2019 elections. So if we talk of the status of the Transformation Alliance, looking at where we are coming from its inception, the values for which it stands, and the graduation that just took place to find an entity that is going to implement the wishes, hopefully, of the TA, that is a great step for us as a movement.
Is it still there today?
Of course. The Transformation Alliance has been a nursery, nurturing young people or adding value to young people, the products of Transformation Alliance that have been injected with the transformative blood. Some of the products, myself and my brother here, we are products of TA.
And Leonard, you decided to leave the Transformation Alliance and join the Democratic Progressive Party. Can you explain to our viewers tonight that decision?
Well, as a Malawian, I have I enjoy freedom of association. I can associate with any political grouping that I'm interested in. TA is a pressure group, has been a pressure group. I had ambitions to contest in a parliamentary elections that were coming in 2019. I could not do it in a pressure group, under a pressure group banner. We discussed with the chairman here about the possibility of maybe taking TA into a political party, migrating into a political party. But obviously there is a process to do that. And with time, I was of the opinion that maybe I will not be able to achieve my dream, my desire, my goals to contest in the elections as under the banner of TA. But otherwise, but also at the same time, I felt that I had my reasons, my personal reasons, that I felt maybe I needed to grow. But I have got nothing against TA. I've got nothing against.
You thought that it would be a political party.
Well, we discussed about a lot of people have talked about because first of all, I was attracted to the idea, the concept of that Transformation Alliance champion, which is youthful leadership, something that I can relate well, resonate well with, and at the same time, the idea of getting rid of certain odd political leaders that maybe have not served the country well. I felt like TA was something that I needed, and obviously I've learned so much. I think I've grown. I was given the opportunity by the board, but also the chairman, that I could save in the capacity as a spokesperson. But then, as I was obviously planning, mapping my way going forward, I felt it is time for me maybe to move. And which I did, and I spoke to the chairman. He gave me his blessing, and I left.
Now, he thought that Transformation Alliance would become a party and that you would field candidates. Why didn't you take that route, Honorable Kunkuyu?
That thinking, or the expectation, or the desire rather, or the wish of wanting TA to become a political party so that some members can ride on it and be fielded as candidates in the 2019 elections was not limited to my brother Leonard only.
Okay.
Many people expressed that thought. They really wanted TA to become a political party. We discussed it at length, and I remember during the discussions, most of which he featured, people expressed that desire, and at one point a resolution was passed that let's proceed and register a political party. But then we engaged a team of consultants to do a consultancy and map the country. How many political parties do we have? How different are we going to be when we come in? What are the chances of us as a new entity making it into government come 2019 and bringing in the much needed transformation? A government led by transformative, energetic young leaders. What were the chances? And we found that there was a bigger platform, there was a bigger gap that needed to be filled by a voice that would cut across the political divide, be it in opposition and in government. We needed to have an injection of transformative leaders in any political party in the country. So at the end, we came back to a drawing board and we said, let us remain a pressure group. So we did not, by doing this, satisfy every other member, especially those that had aspirations. They would want to stand as parliamentary candidates, as he is putting it, which of course is a platform where that transformative leadership can be put to a test and use. So we cannot blame them for that. But we discussed, answering your question, we discussed the issue of forming a political party, and the same grouping, the same board, the same national executive rescinded that decision to say no. After the consultants returned with their report, we feel we should go by their findings that we have over 50 political parties in the country, and if we stand as a political pressure group, we stand a bigger chance of influencing many young people to join politics.
Am I getting you wrong, Leonard, that the desire to contest was there even before you joined the Transformation Alliance? And when you were joining the TA, as it is popularly known, did you foresee the future? Were you therefore frustrated that it was not turning into a political party?
Well, the frustrations, I must say, were there because I believe in...
The frustrations were there?
Yes, because I believe in the ideas that TA stood for, or it still stands for today. At the end of the day, I believe we need young people to get involved. I'm not happy to see young people treated the way they are treated today by most political parties. They are reduced to morale boys, maybe paint boys, which I think it's inhuman to do. So when I saw the idea of the alliance, I believed in it and we championed it. We carried the message across the country. people say they wanted it to turn into a political party. We discussed at length. I encouraged the chairman, who has always resorted to take the issue to the board, and even as a board, we had a lot of consultants. It's true. We've had people, we've had meetings, we've had a lot of, we've had a lot of meetings, and I'm sure there were even some that they were highly publicized. We've had even a conference that people wanted TA to turn into a political party. But that aside, I had the ambition. I wanted to contest in 2019, and my mother comes from Leza. Now, when you look at the political landscape, you've got MCP and DPP. Those are the main political parties that probably have got a go at the presidency, and obviously that taking over government in 2019 or carrying on. The chairman has mentioned that there are over 50 political parties in the country, but those are just most of them are briefcase parties. The real parties that are there probably maybe 5 or thereabout. Some really are just registered, but they're not active on the ground. In fact, I would recommend that maybe some must even be deregistered, because they paint a picture that we have a lot of political parties, but in real essence we only have about 2 or 3 parties in the country. So my mother comes from the central. I was going to maybe contest under MCP ticket if I chose to, but my chances, I felt, maybe were going to be slim to maybe
yeah, because that was my next question. But let me be quick to say, you left the Transformation Alliance, you joined the Democratic Progressive Party.
Yes.
This is the party that the Transformation Alliance had seen so many issues.
Yes.
You talked about the Democratic Progressive Party. Did you betray the Transformation Alliance?
I don't think so, because I still stand to this day. I stand for the same principles, for the same values. I still challenge the DPP to this day on issues that I stood for, even when I was in Transformation Alliance. I am not a hand clapper. I've always, when something is right, I commend. When something is wrong, I criticize. If you follow my track, it's always the same. So I don't think what I benefited from Transformation Alliance, which is that thinking, the transformative spirit, which we stand for, which I stood for also, is still the same, even now in DPP. Some people actually have got a problem with me right now, even in DPP, because they believe maybe I'm not DPP enough. But I'm a Malawian first. I have got certain beliefs.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, coming back to you, Honorable Kunkuyu, where are you now with Transformation Alliance?
Where am I now?
With the recent developments that you have joined the Malawi Congress Party, is it the end of the Transformation Alliance?
The Transformation Alliance was registered. It is registered. It has a board. It has a National Executive Committee, to which even my brother here, Leonard, once belonged. And the Transformation Alliance is a nursery for nurturing transformative leaders. One can graduate from there,
Okay.
but that does not close the institution.
Do you call what Leonard did a graduation?
Just even what I've done.
Okay. Even what you've done.
Yes.
Okay.
What was Amazama Gadadu has done is a graduation.
Okay.
We are graduates from the Transformation Alliance. So when someone leaves Chancellor College doesn't close. Many people have been to university, the colleges haven't closed. They are still nurturing more people. So closing the Transformation Alliance nursery today would be very catastrophic for the future of this country. We still need young people that should have an understanding of the politics of the country before they venture into active politics.
Yeah, but break it down for our listeners. How are you going to marry the two?
The two are still run. I mean, you mean now MCP
Yes.
and Transformation Alliance?
Yes, yes.
How are we marrying DPP and TA? We have a product of TA who is DPP. We have a product of TA who is MCP.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a dosage of transformative leadership in DPP through the coming in of Leonard.
Leonard has said that he is facing difficulties in DPP.
That challenge will always be experienced anywhere.
Okay.
Because old habits die very hard.
Mm.
And the entity that he's in, I'm happy for him that we have someone from TA who I believe in so much. He's a transformative leader. And this injection of transformative blood into DPP, if put into good use, DPP would stand a chance of getting back into government. If DPP had transformative young people, they'd stand a chance of making it back into government. So where he says he's facing challenges, then the asset is not being used there. That means you've bought medication, you've put it under your bed, you're not using it, but you're expecting to get healed.
Now, why MCP?
A very good question. It's a decision that was arrived at, but now MCP in terms of the endorsement first, the board, the whole National Executive Committee of Transformation Alliance has been analyzing the political landscape now. Consultancies have taken place. We have attended several consultative forums. We've done a research on the whole thing as we are shaping up, as the 2019 elections are shaping up. And the conclusion has come out that definitely the political space has been narrowed to two players. That is the DPP and the Malawi Congress Party. We cannot run away from that. There can't be a third force now. I'm talking not as a commentator. I know others may wish to differ with me, but I'm talking as a politician. I am on the ground. And on the ground, come 2019, after the elections, you'll have to hear songs of either DPP or MCP. Those are the two players that are on the ground now. And looking at the two, then as TA, we looked at what sort of a Malawi do we want? The Malawi we want. This process, we started it together with Leonard and many other young people. What sort of Malawi do we want? We want a Malawi where there is no corruption. We want a Malawi where there is no nepotism. A Malawi where young people can have access to education, they graduate, they find jobs without necessarily being connected to someone in power. That's the kind of Malawi we want. And then, do we have that kind of Malawi today? If young people cannot access education, cannot graduate in time, cannot get a job after graduating without being connected to some political powers, then that's not the Malawi we want. If people don't have food, that's not the Malawi we want. If you go to the hospital, there are no drugs, that's not the Malawi we want. Then that disqualifies the DPP because they were entrusted with the power to say you are going to deliver to us as per your promise in the 2014 manifesto. If they have not delivered, then we disqualify them. We look on the other side. Since the political landscape has been narrowed, the race has been narrowed to two, then who is remaining? It's the Malawi Congress Party. But do we just jump into the Malawi Congress Party and say, you are the only one standing? No. We say, let's still maintain our route of searching for transformative leadership and presenting to them what Malawians want. That's why we came up with the document, The Malawi We Want, which we are launching yesterday. This document talks of the past. It is looking at those that are governing us now. Those that are governing us now promised us in their manifesto, which is this one, DPP manifesto. Now what they said they are going to do in here, we are going to fight corruption. We are looking at it. Have they fought corruption? The answers are no, 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 no. Then we go to MCP. The Malawi we want is this one, where we need 4 basics. Those basics, are you going to provide them? They say yes. Then as a board, we say, okay, let's endorse them because they say they are going to give that to Malawians. Why MCP? That's the response. Why joining MCP as a person? We are going into an entity that we have entrusted with the power to implement our wishes, to give to Malawians what we think Malawians want. Then there have to be people that will help in that process. We have those young people that have been nurturing. We say, what's the better vessel? The better vessel would be that which promises to deliver as we wish as Malawians.
I thank you for that explanation. But before I come into Leonard, it's not the entire board that has joined the MCP. I just want to be clear. Because there is you as a politician and there is entire board. of TA.
The entire board has been mentioned at the endorsement.
Okay.
This document belongs to the board of TA.
Okay.
And that board of TA has endorsed Malawi Congress Party. Individuals from the TA have joined Malawi Congress Party. And there are many individuals because, as he rightly puts it, we thought we need young people to take up leadership positions, and those that are aspiring are just too many. So because they're aspiring for positions, we feel there is a platform where they can do that, and they thought joining MCP, the MCP that we have endorsed, why don't we join it and be part of the implementation?
Leonard, same thinking that you had in Transformation Alliance. Honorable Kunkuyu is seeing it differently, joining the Malawi Congress Party. Why did you choose the blue road?
Well, politics is a game of numbers, but also as a politician you have to strategize. I intend to run in the southern region, and DPP is very strong in the south. It's a known fact. It's a given fact. I believed it was a strategic move, and I made the decision after consulting, and I don't think it was wrong. However, I don't think there is a political party that is perfect. You must not be a politician that we are perfect, or this political party is perfect. You know, you've got challenges. Every administration will have challenges. I just want to point out something that Honorable Kunkuyu has raised. That DPP promised to fight corruption in this manifesto. I'll cite one example. The Vice President of Democratic Progressive Party at the moment is actually answering charges that is Admac Mays related. I think if an administration can go after its own vice president, that means there is some effort. I'm aware maybe the pace may not be something that other players would be, can applaud, can appreciate. But I think we need to give a chance to these institutions. They're independent. It's not right that the executive or the president must interfere with the, maybe investigations, ongoing investigations, because tomorrow people will turn around and say, no, the president is interfering. So to say nothing is completely being done, then maybe it's not right. Today I read a report that the Anti-Corruption Bureau they are actually investigating the Lilongwe Salima water contract by Catro. I think it's worth over $500 million US. Those are things that Malawians wanted, and they are being done. I'm also aware that the 4 billion payout that Parliament recently, gave the 86 members of Parliament, or where they were supposed to give the members of Parliament, is also being investigated by Anti-Corruption Bureau. Now, that tells me that yes, there is some progress. About the progress is a different issue, but I know that the president is doing something about it. So I believe, because at the end of the day we are Malawians, this is government, even the opposition is supposed to be part and parcel. Opposition is not an enemy to the administration. If we're going to build Malawi, we need to work together. The opposition must point out things. This is what we feel is not being done right. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is how you're supposed to do it. Not just point out. This is what I've seen with most opposition players. They are only quick at pointing fingers. They will never issue an alternative. I used to love Honorable John Tembo when he was leader of opposition. He would give a detailed plan how he wants certain things addressed. And I believe that is something that today's opposition, members of opposition, must maybe borrow a leaf and learn from him. Go back to his steps, go back to his videos. How was he approaching? You
mentioned in your statement that your joining of the Democratic Progressive Party was strategic.
Yes.
You joined the DPP because you wanted to run in the South.
Yes.
Is that a fair reason of joining a political party?
I don't know what you mean when you say fair. I want to win. I'm not gonna operate to fail. At the end of the day, I want to win. If I'm going, what we have is a political government. You cannot operate outside certain parameters. You have to get in the ring. If I want to contribute at the, in Parliament, I need to first get a constituency that I know I'm going to win. There are players there. I need to identify who are the possible competitors. I need to do a SWOT analysis, and then also I need to look at the region. I know that DPP is strong in the south. Why should I go and run in the north when I know I cannot?
So if you are running in the center,
there are a number of factors. Not only that,
yeah.
I'm a business person. I've got a lot of my business and investments in the south. If I run in the central, it means I need to relocate. My family suffers.
Yeah.
My business suffers.
Yeah.
So when I say strategic, I'm looking at what is it that works for me.
You tell me that you come from Dedza.
Yes, my mother comes from my father from the south.
Okay.
So I'm basically
Malawi.
Malawi.
A typical example.
Yes.
If you had decided to run in Dedza.
Yes, yes. The party there, like just as Honorable Kunkuyu said, it has been narrowed to two players, MCP and DPP.
Yeah.
Now, if I wanted to race a run in Dedza, it meant I need to align myself with Malawi Congress
So
Party.
if it was in Dedza, you would have joined the Malawi Congress Party?
No, I didn't say that. I did not say that. I can only, I can even run as an independent, for all you know.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. So it's basically to do with what is important to me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Are you joining? Is your joining of the Malawi Congress Party strategic as well?
What came first was the endorsement of the Malawi Congress Party. And the joining of the Malawi Congress Party followed to be implementing partners, which means some of us could not have joined the Malawi Congress Party if we had endorsed the DPP.
So is it strategic? You joined the Malawi Congress Party because probably you want to run as an MP and win?
No. What I'm saying, what came first was the endorsement of the Malawi Congress Party by the whole board. And the board is comprised of people that come from every corner of the country. So the whole board cannot endorse, they cannot come up with a suggestion just to suit the aspirations of one person. We have people that come from Nsanje. Our spokesperson now comes from Zomba. There are people that are coming from...
Now, a typical example that Leonard is giving us, the vice president of a ruling party is in court answering corruption charges. He has mentioned a number of examples.
Money laundering, I think so.
Okay, whatever it is. Does that give you a clear indication that the DPP is fighting corruption?
Firstly, I talked of that as one example of a promise that is in limbo, a promise that is far from being fulfilled. The fight against corruption as pledged by the DPP. So he came in and cited an example of the vice president of the party. I would want him, and maybe all of us, to go back to the whole case. Him and I wrote for the minister then to be fired. Him and I called on the president to fire Dr. George Chaponda when he was minister at that time, because we felt that he was involved in the whole process. By that time, the president said, before the commission of inquiry presented a report to the president said in Lilongo that there is nothing wrong that George Chaponda did. So it means, in the eyes of the president, in the whole thinking of Professor Mutharika at that time as president, he knew, and conclusively he said there is nothing wrong, it's a waste of time. He used that word to say it's a waste of time. So the CSOs came in, Mr. President, fire this one, fire this one. There is a report that the minister was involved, Mr. President, fire this one. Then we see, after some time, the SCB is pouncing on him. People have a feeling out there that it's all cosmetic. We can talk of the pace that is very slow, but people out there have a feeling that it's all cosmetic, it's all political. This person is still dictating what happens in the party that is in government. And we know, as he rightly puts it, that we always have a political government. What it means is, what they discuss at the National Executive Committee of the DPP, where he sits as the vice president, is what is implemented at Capitol Hill to affect all Malawians of all political parties. So whatever we are doing now, Dr. George Chaponda is part of the processes of what is happening. That person being investigated for corruption or for money laundering is part of everything that is happening in this country, whether good or bad. The roads that are being built, others are in good condition, others in a shoddy condition. Dr. George Banda is part of the government that is doing those things. Where corruption is still going on, there is still money being lost. Lots of money still being lost. I'll tell you, those that are still squandering those monies, they know they have the blessing of someone who sits with them in a neck meeting of a party that then dictates what happens in the country. Because whatever we see happening at Capitol Hill, there is always a blue hand in those things. Good things, the community colleges, where do they come from? They come from this document. So Dr. George Banda shares in the success that is being portrayed by the community colleges because he is part of this document. He is the vice president. So anything bad that is also coming out of the government, we should not only decorate them with the good stories. The corruption that is still going on now, the Lilongwe water project that we're talking about in the area 18, water contamination, everything that is happening now, the monies that are still being lost in government, the 4 billion kwaja issue, those that were to share that money, all those, the person that we are saying is being investigated is part of the processes. So we cannot say...
So the example that
that
Mr.
example, I'm sorry to say,
yes,
is unrealistic.
Do you think?
And
do you still think it is?
No, just a minute.
Yeah.
Let me just finish.
Okay.
He also did touch on the 4 billion kwaja issue as another example because the SAB has said something about it. I am talking particularly about the leadership of the country, which is something that him and I have been advocating. Transformative leadership. Transformative leadership would tell a president to say, Mr. President, you are a transformative leader, keep quiet. There is ACB. Let them do their job. The president, what did he say? He said, no, I'm not going to fire these people. These people are still clean. The minister is still clean. But the ACB comes in and says there is a case. We need to probe. The president should have kept quiet. That's a transformative leader. On the case of Chabonda, he shouldn't have conclusively said there is nothing wrong, this is a waste of time. No, a transformative leader would have sat down and say, I am waiting for the commission of inquiry, which is 24 hours from now, going to present a report. When I get that report, I am going to make a comment. But he made a comment today. The following day, the commission of inquiry comes and says, Mr. President, the gentleman has to be probed. You see now, that's what I mean. Those examples are kind of misplaced.
You have the floor, Mr. Jimbanga.
Yes, yes. I think what Honorable Kunkuyu is failing to highlight is that there are promises that were also kept by the President on His Excellency Professor Afabit Mutharika on a lean cabinet. We have a lean cabinet. We've had it since 2014. That is a promise kept. On issues of global trotting, he said he wasn't going to he wasn't going to waste money on flying out. In fact, he's the only president who has not been traveling. The only time he has traveled outside the country is to attend maybe UNGA. That tells me there is a spirit in him that he would want to address some of the challenges that we have. There are issues of, he has mentioned the tertiary colleges, the technical colleges. It's very important. Not all of us, not every Malawian will get a chance to attend tertiary education at the University of Malawi. So equipping young men with skills, it's important. And this is what this government is focusing on. Another issue that is not talking about is the infrastructure development. You cannot develop a country without roads. That is something that I've seen that the president is also championing. There are a lot of roads all over the place. And those are some of the things that I expect even an opposition figure to also point out. Yeah, because you cannot only say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong.
No, not so long ago, you shared Honorable Kunkuyu's sentiments.
Yes.
Where has it changed?
Nothing has changed.
Okay.
I want you to understand that I still think we should get to the bottom of the ADMAC maze gate. This is where I was bringing you back to say I'm having difficulties in DPP because I agree we have got challenges.
So whatever he is saying, you are in agreement.
Not everything.
Okay.
I think he has singled out a few things in a manifesto. I am aware it's a big document. There are certain things that as a president, maybe he needs to be given time, another term. Okay. You can't. I don't think you're going to achieve.
But he tells us in this program that you sat together You made a statement.
Yes.
Do you still subscribe to the statements that you issued a few months ago?
That we must, everyone who is involved in a mess gate must be prosecuted. Yes. What I don't think, I want you to get this picture. There are issues of corruption that happened during the from 2012 when we had Dr. Joyce Banda. I'll give you I'll cite one example: the presidential jet, which was sold. Honorable Kunkuyu was a spokesperson of government then. He has failed to explain to Malawians what happened to the jet and its proceeds. I expect him to also, he's quiet. He has never said anything to this day. I expect, up to this day, we don't even know what happened to the jet. Those are things that I, as Leonard Chibanga, would want to know. What happened to the presidential jet? What happened to, where is the money? And those are, I believe Malawians are interested in those answers. You see, if we just narrow it to say, oh no, this administration, you see, there will never be a perfect government. As Malawians, we must learn to say, look, this is our country.
I'll give Honorable Kunkuyu the floor in a moment.
Yes.
But I want us to understand, our viewers to understand what you're saying. Honorable Kunkuyu is giving us specific examples. You issued statements. You sat in a boardroom together.
Yes.
And made statements.
Yes.
Are those statements valid today?
Today, and even into my last breath, I still stand by them.
Okay, so when have you seen this other good side of the Democratic Progressive Party?
I want you to understand something.
Yes, please.
As a president, as a head of state, I don't think you would want to see your people suffer. I don't think you would celebrate that your people are going through difficult. I'll give you an example of electricity. We have got a problem in this country of electricity. Do we blame the president? The question is, I don't think so. Why? Because we have got institutions that are empowered to run those elements, those activities. Are they doing a good job? What is their strategic plan? You know, those are things that we can be able.
I thank you.
Thank you.
Honorable Kunkuyu, 11 months before we go to the 2019 general elections, what are the major issues that are going to make these elections to Malawians? And if you want to comment on what Leonard has said, you are free to do that. But I'm looking at time and
we can always have another day, but let me respond a bit
please,
to what
please, yes.
You know, let me begin by...
You are laughing.
I am giggling.
Yes.
You know, I am privileged that at a tender age, I found myself in cabinet. The very first few days of being in cabinet, because I was just coming from an office, someone who had never held any senior office like that one, and all of a sudden I'm the spokesperson of government. So what I told Dr. Joyce Banda was, I am a church person in my other life. I would want to tell people what it is. I am not used to this kind of politics of lying to people. And she gave me the blessing to say, tell people what it is like. And that's what I was doing. But then, when you are working in that kind of an office, especially as spokesperson of government, you must know what sort of information you release. And there is some other classified information that even a parliamentarian would agree to say today that, no, that information, we cannot talk about it. I will tell you here, you cannot talk of how many guns we have in Malawi, how many guns the Malawi Defense Force has. So that kind of classified information, the time that the presidential jet was being sold, there was an attachment of classified information. Once there is that seal on the communication from those offices, if you try to say anything...
You're talking in reference to the presidential jet. Okay.
Yes.
Time, I'm being reminded of time. What are the major issues that are going to shape this coming election, in your view?
I think it's not fair that you are not giving him a space to respond to.
Because it shows that the thing is getting interesting. And we can always have another.
But I respect his concern on confidentiality.
Okay, yeah, but now Malawi gets derailed, goes onto the wrong way, off track, if we keep certain things to be convincing us, certain cosmetic things to be convincing us to say, yes, there is fulfillment of some promises that leaders made simply because ABCD has happened. My brother here is running for a constituency, Plantain City South constituency. I was there as member of parliament. There are roads. There is a road from a few roads that have been constructed, but one major one would be, one notable one rather, would be the Living Waters Road. Few months after the road was constructed, you go there, you find potholes. When he comes in as an MP, I hope you're going to come as an MP.
Definitely.
When he comes in as an MP, he's going to start patching roads that have been done 8 months ago. Would we say that's a fulfilled promise? In that road, someone has pocketed a percentage. That's not the Malawi we want. When you come in, my brother, build roads that are durable, that will last 20 years. Not a road that you construct today, tomorrow it has potholes all over. A road to Nancholi, potholes all over. But you go and see the road to Kampala.
Are you answering my question, or you're still...
You mean the question of how we are shaping up to the future?
Yes.
I want us to go into a future that is realistic.
Okay.
So being realistic as we go into the future, we would know that we have a lean cabinet of 20 people, but we have a train of presidential advisors that are pocketing salaries equivalent to those of deputy ministers. These people could just be brought into cabinet and make a cabinet of 50 people today if all the advisors came and joined Peter Mutharika. Because, I mean, as a minister, I've been a minister. What you do as a minister in terms of reference, you play an advisory role to the president. So the president has an advisor in a minister. What is an advisor, a presidential advisor, coming to do to the president? A presidential advisor on youth affairs, when there is a minister of youth, what is the minister doing? One of them has to go home. So as we go into the future now, let me attempt to answer your question.
Yes.
We would love, as Transformation Alliance, that includes my brother here. I'm talking about the transformative leadership or the transformative nature of us inside here. We would love to see Malawi where the leaders or those that are aspiring for the high office would compile a document like this one with realistic issues. I don't want to go into this. I'll keep this for another day. But leaders should learn to be realistic. What is in this manifesto is not realistic. Not only the DPP. There are a few other parties that made their promises. When you look at them today, I'm bringing this one because these are the people that are in power. These are the people that are in power. But if you look at many other manifestos, they are lies. People are lied to. This document, we are saying the Malawi we want 4 basic things. Your child must have a shelter. Your child must have education, should be able to go to school. Your child should be able to have food by the time he's going to school. At least when you fall sick, find drugs in the hospital. Infrastructure development and others will follow. These children, when they go to school, they have food. They will come back as good engineers and build good roads. That's the Malawi that would want. So it starts with those that are aspiring for positions to be realistic. Don't lie to Malawians.
What are the major issues that are going to shape up this election from the DPP's point of view?
I think, first of all, before I go further, I wanted to commend Honorable Kunkuyu on the issue of presidential advisors and ministers. I think we can agree that maybe there are certain roles that are duplicated and we can do better if maybe that is looked into. Coming to the 2019 general elections, I believe the issue of electricity has been, yes, it's something that is affecting Malawians, but it has been given a lot of coverage by you, the media houses, unlike what the 85% of Malawians in the villages are really, really concerned about, which is food security, the infrastructure, road infrastructure. Those are things that really matter to people. I believe we have freedoms. This is the only country right now that people are able to express themselves, they're able to demonstrate. Those are also things that we should be able to commend. However, there are challenges that I think the administration is going through. I believe the issue of corruption is high on the agenda. And it's being addressed. I've seen that there's movement, although we could appreciate if maybe the pace was faster. But otherwise, it will be the same things, food, roads. But I'm not happy that when we get during this period, you have, during campaign, you've got politicians who hand out cash and T-shirts and maybe party cloth. Sometimes those are the things that actually it boils down to that.
On the electricity, do you agree that it's probably your own making as the Democratic Progressive Party government?
It's a 52-year-old problem. So DPP has only been in office for maybe 4 years now, and then if you want to
do you agree that it's a 52-year-old program? Because I'm asking this question in reference to the generators. We hear that these generators are not even our own generators, that we are hiring these generators.
No, first of all, we don't even need them in the first place. What we use hydropower, which means we rely on water.
Do we own these generators? Are we hiring them?
I have no idea on the contractual issues related to the gensets. All I know is I think there's been a lot of pressure because people want electricity now. They can't wait. If you give them, you've got short-term, medium, and long-term programs. I mean, how you want to solve a problem. And I believe the administration got the gensets because they wanted to address a short-term problem. Because as we, in last year, 2017, companies were not producing, and that can have, will have a ripple effect on the economy because they're not producing. Hence, MRA was not able to meet its targets. This is why government decided to, ESCOM rather, and the GENCO decided to go into to hire the gensets. However, I don't think they did proper assessment as to how much it would be, it would require.
Time is not our best ally. How are we going to conclude our discussion tonight? Do you want to make a quick reference to what Chimbanga is talking about, or you conclude
on the electricity issue?
Yes,
I think we'll have another day. Let me commend him, and I pray that he doesn't get fired. He sounds he sounds really transformative.
Yeah, you sometimes feel worried that is he not going to find himself in tough waters?
This is what we need in all the political parties. This is what we need. People should be able to express themselves. He's not amused completely with the gensets issue. He's agreeing with me that no, there is a train of presidential advisors. What are they doing? I pray, don't fire Leonard Chimbanga.
What will be your concluding remarks? Let me start with him. Your concluding remarks. I
commend you for inviting us, but also I don't take it for granted. I would like to thank him personally and also the entire board of TA for giving me an opportunity to serve in the capacity as a spokesperson. I believe I gained so much, and the transformative spirit is still in me.
I can see that. I can see that.
I believe.
I don't know how long it's going to last.
No, it will always be there. I think when you're from TA, first Malawi comes first.
Okay.
So I believe that I'm trying to add something. I want to add value. There may be a price to pay, but at the end of the day, I think when you join politics, I think first you need to have a heart to serve the people. So thank you for always inviting us, but also I thank our viewers.
Honorable Kunkuyu.
No, I'd like to thank my brother.
Yes.
He is keeping up the spirit, and that's very wonderful. We hope this will last, and our pledge to Malawians is that the endorsement that TA has made is not going to disappoint them. We are watching closely, and some of us that have joined the Malawi Congress Party want to assure Malawians that we are there for Malawi first. I personally, I always do things for Malawi. So when Malawi...
You could have registered a political party.
We could have registered a political party, but you say...
I think we should. He should.
No, we don't need that. We have to manage the political parties that are there now. And as of now, we feel MCP could be managed and form the next government, which would be an everybody's government.
DPP is going to retain power, so don't take what
just a minute. But still, we need a very strong opposition. And the DPP qualifies. I think
MCP will be a good opposition.
We have to leave it there. Let me commend you both for the spirit that you have shown tonight. Standing on different platforms, but still putting Malawi first. It's something that a lot of our politicians are failing. So thank you very much, Honorable Chimbanga, and thank you very much, Honorable Kunkuyu. It's always a pleasure to have you both in such kind of programs, and let's keep talking.
Thank you.
Well, on that note, we wrap up this week's edition of the program, The Bottom Line. My name is Brian Banda, from all of us here at Times headquarters in Blantyre.
Right.
In this edition of the program, I was joined by Honorable Moses Kunkuyu, leader of Transformation Alliance, the alliance that has since endorsed the Malawi Congress Party. And Leonard Chimbanga is now a DPP member and a shadow MP. He used to speak for Transformation Alliance. My name is Brian Banda. Until next week, it's goodbye.